Hey everyone, welcome back to K-Korner, your go-to spot for the most unbelievable stories and jaw-dropping moments. I'm your host, Crown, and today, oh boy, do I have some tales for you. From chaotic Walmart encounters to neighborhood showdowns, we're diving into a world where the unexpected is just around the corner. So grab your popcorn, sit back, and let's get started with today's wild ride. So this was back in college at the local Walmart that is known for always being interesting. I have so many stories from this place. I swear this Walmart is like a caring beacon. The story is a bit chaotic. I try to write it as clearly as I can, but a lot was happening all at once. And while the memory is vivid, it's also quite meshed together. Some relevant information. I'm pale, and at the time I walked with a cane. I have a condition where my heart rate can get too high and my blood pressure can drop. And I can pass out from standing too long usually, but anxiety can bring on episodes too. I wear a headscarf on holidays and special occasions. Now, there are many types and styles of headscarves. On this day, I was wearing it in a style where it completely covered my head and then draped around my neck. It was secured with pins. I used dressmaking pins. They are not very visible in a scarf, but they do not have anything covering their pointy ends. I make sure I place them so they will hold the fabric in place and not stick me. Since it's a holiday, I am also wearing traditional clothing, a long skirt, a white shirt with some embroidery on it, and a fabric belt. I made the mistake of going to Walmart alone in traditional clothing. So I'm going around the Walmart picking up a few things. My backpack is in the front of the cart so I don't have extra weight on me. I'm standing at one of those aisle ends. I was trying to find something and had to look up where it was on my phone. Out of nowhere, my headscarf is ripped off of my head as someone behind me yells, "Terrorist witch!" Luckily, the scarf only had the end around my neck, so it pulled on my neck but didn't full-on choke me. Still, this definitely activated my fight-or-flight response. The woman, Karen, then starts screaming as I turn around. Apparently, one of the pins had stuck her when she ripped my scarf off. She's screaming that I'm a terrorist, I assaulted her, and she wants the manager and a police called, and so on. This couple had been down the aisle and saw it happening and ran over. The woman kinda threw her sweatshirt on my head and got between me and Karen. I was panicking at first, but realized she was trying to help cover my head. And the man with her also had gone between us and was yelling at the Karen. The nice man grabbed my scarf back and handed it to the nice woman, who handed it to me. And she took her sweatshirt and held it up around my head to sort of block people's view of my head while I try to get my scarf back on. The Karen is still screaming that she wants the police to arrest me for being a terrorist, for assaulting her, and how dare he. She is digging through her purse to find pepper spray because she wants to spray me and the man. I honestly didn't even wrap my scarf properly. I wanted to get out of there as fast as possible. A nearby employee had come out of an aisle to see what was happening and ran off to get the manager, I'm assuming. The nice man is yelling back at Karen and had confiscated the pepper spray from her. Karen is screaming that I'm a traitor to my own race along with her earlier insults, and is demanding that the nice man pin me to the floor so she can pepper spray me and do a citizen's arrest and keep me there until the police and FBI arrived, since she's adamant that I'm a terrorist. So at this point, I'm shaking and crying, my heart rate is extremely high, and I know I need to leave or I'm going to pass out. The nice woman asked if I wanted to leave. I nodded. She grabbed my backpack and the arm that I am not holding the cane in, and she quickly walked me down the aisle and out of the store. We just left my cart where it was. She asked where my car was, and I tried explaining that I'm a college student and have to wait for the bus. But I'm coughing and trying to breathe as my heart rate is well over 180 at this point. The nice woman sees this and explains that she's a nurse and I'm clearly not okay. And she asks about my medical condition and what I need. I explain what it is and that I need to sit/lay down cause I'm gonna pass out. He offered me to sit in their van, which usually would obviously be a no, but we are standing in the middle of a parking lot and I'm about to pass out. And currently my brain is not getting very much oxygen. He opens the side door and I sit on the edge of the car and promptly faint. I wake up a few minutes later and she's holding my wrist in one hand, checking my pulse and looking at her watch. I mumble something so she knows I'm awake and she just keeps telling me it's okay, I'm doing fine. After I recover a bit, I sit up and realize a nice man is standing outside the car. I think he was trying to give me privacy. I asked for the Gatorade from my backpack and sip on that. It helps with fainting. While he explains what was going down, he says that the manager showed up with store security and he explained, over Karen screaming, what happened, and handed her pepper spray to the security guard, and that the police had been called. I looked over and sure enough, there is cop cars pulled to the front of the store. The nice man asked if I had been hurt, if I wanted to talk to the police, and honestly I'm scared of cops and just wanted to go home. So I declined to talk to the police or press charges. The nice man went back inside to talk to the police a bit more, and I tried to fix my scarf a little better. I had lost a few pins through all of this, which was kind of annoying, so I couldn't trap it how it was earlier. The nice woman told me my heart rate had been around 200 when I passed out, and luckily it had come down again quickly because she had considered calling an ambulance. She lets me know the nice man is texting her and reads out to me what is going down back in the store. As it turns out, I didn't need to press charges. Karen was so infuriated that the nice man would help terrorist witch to get away, and she got a bit aggressive. She was yelling at the manager, security, and the police officers when the nice man came back in. When she saw him, she rips out her pepper spray. Apparently, they were dumb enough to give it back to her and is screaming at him. Cop grabs her arm to stop her, and she tries to pepper spray the cop, gets taken down and cuffed. The nice woman is positively gleeful as she tells me about Karen getting tackled. Apparently, then Karen starts screaming about suing the cops, getting the FBI involved, and the classic Karen stuff. I didn't get to see Karen get taken off to jail sadly. My bus pulled up and the nice woman helped me over to it. Since then, I refuse to go by myself to any store if I'm wearing a headscarf, even though I live in a different area now. It was a cloudy day when I decided to take a stroll around my new neighborhood, getting to know the place better. I was dressed casually in jeans and a worn-out t-shirt, far from the upscale attire that most people in the area probably preferred. As I walked down the street, I was quite impressed with the beautiful houses in this fancy neighborhood, to be honest. I must have really looked at the place, or perhaps HOA Karen had a radar for newcomers. She spotted me from across the street and walked over with a raging face. She was clearly the self-proclaimed guardian of the neighborhood, and she made sure everyone knew it from the get-go. "Excuse me, what are you doing here? This is a private neighborhood, and we don't allow riffraff like you to roam around." I was taken aback. "I just moved into your neighborhood," I replied. "You expect me to believe that? Look at you. You look homeless. You probably sneaked in here to steal something." I tried to remain calm, though her words were infuriating. "I assure you I am the new owner of one of the houses nearby. You can check with a real estate agency if you'd like." But she was having none of it. "I don't have the time for your lies. You're not allowed here. Get out." "Look, I am not going anywhere. I have a home here now, and I have every right to be here." "How dare you defy me? I am everything in this neighborhood, and I say you're not welcome." At this point, a small crowd had gathered. Karen's tirade continued and it became clear that she wasn't going to let this go. Then when I tried to leave her there and walk away from her, she reached out, turned me around and slapped me across the face. Stunned, I couldn't believe what had just happened. The people around were shocked as well, but before I could react, Karen pulled her hand back for another slap, thinking she could intimidate me into leaving. But that was it for me. I caught her hitting hand mid-air. "What are you doing?" she shrieked. I leaned closer and told her, "I'm defending myself, Karen. You can't assault someone just because they don't fit your idea of who belongs here." With a sudden twist, I forced her to the ground, causing her to yelp in pain as she fell to her knees. As Karen stayed in pain on the ground, I pinned down, my face inches from her, and I said, "You need to learn some manners. And by the way, I'm the new owner of that $1 million villa you were so eager to kick me out of." Shock was written all over her face at this point. Then she yelled, "You're lying." I pulled out my phone and I called the police, explaining the situation and how Karen had assaulted me. She continued to fume on the ground, unable to escape the reality that her actions led her to the ground. When the police arrived, they listened to both of our stories, reviewed the street surveillance, and asked the witnesses around. It was clear who was in the wrong and Karen was arrested on the spot for assault. The shocker came when the HOA president came to me and said, "We had no idea you were the new homeowner. You don't exactly look like it if I'm being frank." I chuckled, realizing that my casual attire had caused quite the commotion, but I always dressed like that. Looks can be deceiving. I replied with a grin. It goes to show that you should never judge a book by its cover. And entitlement doesn't discriminate based on appearances. In the end, karma had its way, and I learned that even in the fanciest of neighborhoods, there is always room for a little surprise. Hey guys, loving these crazy stories? Then don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Your support means the world to us here at K-Korner. And hey, drop a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Alright, let's jump back into the craziness. In 2013, back when I was working at a movie theater in my town, in a rich uppy area, right after Wolf of Wall Street came out, it caused problems. Now, working at a movie theater, you can usually just tell after a while what people know, what they want, and people who think they know what they want but have no idea what they are getting into. After a lot of refunds for Wolf of Wall Street because of a scene Leo did cocaine off a hooker's body, we were told to warn people exactly what they were getting into because we were getting a load of refunds every show and we were too busy to not keep them waiting a while. So, it was my job. So cue our little old lady, we will call Agnes. Agnes was a little old lady who was a short but large woman with a very short pixie cut. She wore activewear leggings and overly large t-shirt and a fanny pack. She waddled over to my ticket booth, fishing her money out of her fanny pack. "One ticket to Wolf of Wall Street?" Agnes stated before yelling loudly, "Senior." Yes, Agnes, I can tell you need a senior, and yes, she was not the type for this movie. Okay, but just so you know, it's R-rated. I started, but she groaned and rolled her eyes, slapping her hand on a table. "Just do your job and give me a ticket. I'm going to be late," Agnes stated. Cue my malicious compliance. "One senior coming up." I handed her her ticket as she snatched it out of my hand and waddled off to the theater. I waved goodbye. As if on cue, 30 minutes into her entering the theater, like most people who have no idea what they are getting into, walks out of the theater. I was about to call my manager with glee for a refund, happy for my subtle revenge, when I realized she had just come out to make a call. All my hopes and dreams crumbled. Maybe I misread her, but she was for sure not the type to enjoy this movie. I sighed in defeat and went back to waiting for movies to get out. That was until not long after her call. 3 police cars with flashing lights pulled up to the front of my theater. I paused in noticeable confusion as 6 police officers came in with their hands on their side pistols. Since again I was in a ticket booth, they approached me. "Ma'am, we got a call about some illegal films here," the police officer, we will call Robert, stated. I started in a loud, long, continuous My eyes slowly drifted into Agnes, who was waddling quickly up to me. "Arrest her," Agnes demanded as I just continued my continuous and arrest him too. She pointed to the concession workers in loud, noticeable anger. "For what reason, ma'am?" Robert asked, now seeing how calm and quiet the theater was because the movies were in. "For that disgusting illegal thing of what they are trying to say is a movie," Agnes huffed. She was red in the face and panting. "I demand you shut this place down." "Were you the one that called about the children engaging in adult activities illegally filming?" "Can't say it or it won't be approved," Robert asked as completely went dead silent. "Child what? We had nothing remotely like that here or ever." "Yes," Agnes stated. "That thing in there, that Wolf of Wall Street is illegal. We cannot show that kind of trash in here." "Ma'am, I saw that movie. There is nothing really illegal in it, and there are no children engaging in adult activities illegally filmed in it either," Robert stated, pretty ticked off. "Is this why you called us?" "Yes, because back in my day, the police would have shut this place down." Agnes was screaming her head off as 2 of the officers got the hint and just left. "Ma'am, do you know what you did is illegal? It's filing a false police report. 911 is for emergencies only, not for your bad movie reviews." Robert had enough of her at this point. "But I didn't file a false police report." Agnes whined as Robert turned to me in a very, very nice tone. "Have a great day, ma'am." He beamed with obvious annoyance, and they started to file out, and Agnes angrily followed them, yelling to them. Right when Robert was about to exit the door, Agnes grabbed the push bar for the door and yanked it back to keep the door closed to not let him leave. hitting Robert with a door. Yes, if you're wondering, that does count as assaulting an officer. Last I saw, Agnes was escorted to the police cruiser with shiny new arm bracelets. Though I am not sure what happened to her, but I never saw Agnes again. I did see Robert though. He got a free movie for me, but it was busy and I couldn't talk to him to see what's happened with our dear old friend. But I can tell it was just amazing things. This is a petty revenge between me and my now ex-friend. For the purpose of the story, he is a male, a few years younger than me, but we are both in our 30s. I'm just going to call the event because I don't want any negativity towards said event because I love it. My ex-friend is the kind of guy who sleeps with as many women as humanly possible, and if they are married or otherwise taken, the better. He is incapable of talking about anything other than his relationships, and spends all of his time at clubs drinking and doing drugs. He wasn't like that when I met him, which is the only reason we were friends at the time. Fast forward to about a little over a year ago. We both went to this event, hotel accommodations were made, but he screwed me over with them because I was the only female he's ever known that he wasn't been with, and that makes it uncool. He can't have me meeting his male friends, so he gave my spot to his most recently acquired friend. To top matters, after I made my own last-minute accommodations, I saw him at event and tried to say hi. He was with a few of his male friends. He immediately told me to get lost and stop bothering him and that I was so damn clingy and needy. I saw him in person maybe 2 times a year and texted him on phone maybe less than once a month for a couple of minutes. This of course made all of his male friends laugh. Later during the event, I found him by himself and I approached him and told him it was not cool what he did in front of his friends. I understood that I was a responsible woman, unlike his other female partners, and that maybe he felt he had to present himself in a certain way in front of his friends, but I expected an apology. Maybe I was out of line, maybe I wasn't, but it wasn't the first time he treated me like this. We were already on edge. He basically told me to bugger off because he didn't have time to listen to my whiny little complaints and that I needed to get over him. That was the last time I saw him at this event. Didn't talk to him for a year, and now fast forward again to the event version 2023. Now I work security at this event. Lo and behold, he shows up with all of his friends. I hadn't even thought about it, but the opportunity was right there. I charged him with harassment, unruly behavior, and carrying open alcohol in an area where it wasn't allowed. Okay, so he hadn't actually done those things in front of me that year, but I'd seen him do them multiple times in previous years. And I'd seen him get warned by security in previous years. Once he even posted on social media how they got kicked out of their hotel, but they stayed for the event and just drove each day. 4-day event. His event ticket was immediately revoked before he even got in. Since he had already redeemed it, however, he was not refunded. As I assume he was staying in a hotel with his friends as well, he didn't get that refund either because the hotel was still used. That means he was out several $100s and missed the entire weekend. What he doesn't know is that I will be working security as well next year, and probably the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that. And that's a wrap for today's episode, folks. I hope you enjoyed these unbelievable tales as much as I did. Remember, life is full of surprises and sometimes they are just a trip to the store away. Stay tuned for more adventures and wild tales here at Crown Corner. This is Crown, signing off.